Alright, so I know I reviewed this movie already on the Brad Rants channel, but I gotta go back and review it again. Um, the Purge. There was so much hype around this particular movie, and it was so fucking disappointing. I thought that this movie was going to be a horror classic. I was actually expecting Insidious, quality here. Like a very intriguing movie. Um, the plot, the plot of the movie is genius, and I talked about this in the original review. It it's a great premise. What if the government, the United States government, did away with all laws for 12 hours once a year? Now, can you think of the potential behind a film like that? You would have limitless potential with that. You could do whatever you wanted in a movie like that. You know how a lot of times you gotta suspend your disbelief because, you're like, there's laws. Not everybody can get away with, like, stealing an oil tanker and driving it across a highway, bashing it into, every single thing. And that's where a lot of movies fail. Because even though with movies we should suspend our, disbelief a little bit for our enjoyment of them, but sometimes you just have to suspend it a little bit too far. But in a setting like this, you don't need to do that because it actually makes sense in a fantasy-like setting like that. Except it's not a fantasy, it's a horror, it's a thriller. But you can get away with that. You could do that in a horror setting. It is pretty horrific when you think about it. So many people, just think about it when you say it, when you're at work or something, you're like, oh, I want to kill my boss, I want to kill my coworker, or, oh, I want to kill this person, my neighbor, whatever, someone who wrongs you on the street. You could do that under the law. So, you see, this could have been a fun movie. It could have been an awesome fucking movie. There could have been so much greatness in this. There could have been just so many clever little things they could have done. They could have even made it funny. Not like funny as it was cheesy, but just the fact that everybody's getting revenge on everybody they hated. It could have been like a fantasy come true. But instead, they don't do that. We get a boring-ass, generic horror film. And only Hollywood could ruin a concept like this. Oh, okay, if it was an independent film, and, and they had more freedom to do what they could do, without so many parameters, then it probably would have ended up being something like that. And unfortunately, Hollywood got this idea first, and I don't know where they took the idea from, but it doesn't sound like it's original or anything. And they went ahead and just made a total fucking disaster of a film instead. And I was so disappointed because, as I just stated, there was so much potential. I gave examples of what they could have done. And instead, this is what they go for. So that is the plot. That is the plot, but it becomes a subplot, as I have previously stated in the old review. It becomes a subplot because they don't know what they're doing. Instead, you've got your main plot. That is in the background. That's just the premise which allows them to do what they're going to do here. So in the beginning of the movie, you've got Ethan Hawke, which, is a great actor. The guy has proven himself in films. Training Day is by far one of my favorite cop movies of all time, and a lot of people agree on that statement, that it is very good. It's a very, Emotionally driven cop drama, Training Day. And Ethan Hawke is like, that's the movie when you say Ethan Hawke that I think of. But now Ethan Hawke really hasn't been in a lot of quality pictures in the past few years, and this is where he ends up, in The Purge. And basically what he is he is the head of a company that protects people. They sell equipment, security equipment, to protect the residents of, neighborhoods, whoever can afford this expensive security system, on the night of the Purge. So once a year, this guy makes out like a bandit because everybody is buying this equipment, trying to protect themselves, from people who are trying to basically break into their house and trying to kill them. You basically have created a little fort, a sanctuary for yourself by using his equipment. Okay, that makes sense and everything, that there would be somebody trying to, help others and profit off of people, based on the Purge. That makes perfect sense. I'm not going to complain about that. I understand it. It's nothing really that hard to understand about basically what they're going with that point of the plot. So you see that, neighbors are jealous of their wealth, and, they live in the same neighborhood, so basically it's a rich neighborhood, so they can't be that poor, really. But anyway, they're still jealous of them. And right there, that makes no sense at all. If they're already pretty wealthy because they're able to live in this, this very classy, cul-de-sac neighborhood, then why the fuck are they so jealous? Maybe because he makes a couple more million than they do? But it doesn't make any sense, really, as a whole. Why they would be so jealous that they'd want to kill him. Doesn't make sense. Alright. But there's conflict building. So at some point in the movie that it's pretty much a dead giveaway at this point, that somewhere along the lines, the Purge laws or lawlessness of the Purge will somehow affect Ethan Hawke and his family. And these neighbors, they're obviously, that there's some way down the line going to try to take advantage of the Purge and try to fucking kill Ethan Hawke. So, okay, that's foreshadowing. Obvious foreshadowing. Too obvious of foreshadowing, but okay. I'll take it. So, time passes and, we get the boring part of, basically there's always that boring first half an hour in every single horror movie, basically. It's the setup, it's slow, it's always like that. Now, but they could do it in a better way where there's just, slight foreshadowing. They did it in Insidious. I use Insidious now as the gold standard in horror films. That movie was great, amazing, and a great, shocking ending. It was a wonderful film. I loved it. I don't remember the last time I enjoyed a horror film prior to Insidious as much as I enjoyed that one. So forgive me if I hold it to a certain standard, a movie like The Purge, because, that's an example of just great script writing and what have you. It was a great film. So anyway, back to The Purge. So anyway, the night comes, and it's Purge time. It's Purge time, baby. And it's all set to happen. They seal up the doors and everything. Everything is all fine and well. All of a sudden, a man dressed in army fatigues comes trotting down the road. And the only person awake in the house is the fucking son. And the son is, supposed to be super intelligent, or at least it's implied. Super intelligent, my ass. Because, wait, what happens next? So because of this stupid fucking kid, and this is, this is always what happens in a lot of films. It's always some stupid kid Now, how is he a super genius? He's able to make all his little own surveillance equipment, to help out his dad, Ethan Hawke here. And he lets the guy in. Doesn't know who he is, but he lets him in. Super smart, huh? Lets this fucking stranger into the house. Makes no fucking sense again. Like, why would he let him in? He knows. He's not a dumbass. They make like he's super intelligent. And he lets him into the house just like that. Because, he's screaming in terror, I guess. But, it's not like this is his first purge. He knows what happens with the purge, and all of a sudden, like, this never happened at any point that someone was screaming for their life as they were brutally getting murdered during the purge. The son is like, 10 years old. So when he was 9, 8, 7, he's super intelligent. He doesn't remember any of this happening. Suspension of disbelief, right? Okay, no. It's already getting unbearably impossible here to, just say that at this point. No. You can't suspend your disbelief that much. It's practically impossible to do so, especially when it's that stupid and that obvious. For the viewer and for the character, that something bad could happen if he lets a total stranger in the middle of the night during the most violent time of the year. Fucking dumb. So he lets him in, deactivates the equipment, and guy comes in. So he comes in, and at first you don't know what's even happening. He gives them an evil glare. They all come and rush to the door. Ethan Hawke wakes up, and so does his wife. And, it's like these actors that they picked. It's Ethan Hawke, but, like the wife and the daughter are there, and it makes no sense. And the boyfriend has snuck into the house, I forgot to mention. Something is going to happen there. Comes the most dangerous point of the night. He sneaks into the house. And these kids are 17 years old. And again, like, no common sense. People are dying. There is a lot of death. So, he gets into the house before the purge actually takes place. But whatever, Okay. So, what else happens here? So, they all rush to the door, and they see that this military guy is got into the house already. They let him in. And he gives him an evil stare. And it's like, we just gave you shelter from getting murdered, basically, and you're giving us the evil eye? What is that about? Okay, so then they get a knock on the door, and it's a bunch of angry prep school kids. They're all smiling. They're all basically demented. It could be anybody, but it has to be these smiling, demented maniacs, and they're all wearing, doll masks, which has been done before. It was in The Strangers. It's been so many horror movies, in video games. The whole mask thing is just, it's creepy, it's freaky looking, but it's been done. And isn't it just a little bit like a little too coincidental that these are the people that show up, the most maniacal of all? I thought it would have been a little bit better if they just went straight forward and just had like the neighbors trying to take revenge on them in unique ways. But it's like, right here, let me just explain this first. So basically, these prep school kids are, saying that they won't harm them as long as they offer up, the military man. And But now he's, gone to a part of the house where they can't find him. He's hiding. So basically, long story short, they're skipping around with machetes outside. There's these girls. They're giggling. They're fucking wackos. And the thing is, what I have to know here is, like, this is what's weird, is that they're psychos. And I know everybody's murdering each other in the Purge, but there's normal people doing that. But why are they, like, psychotic and they're allowed to be in a prep school with... I mean, they're skipping around with machetes. They're not right in the head. I mean, they look like they just escaped from a loony bin. I mean, they're not even fucking talking. They're singing. They're, basically singing hopscotch songs to themselves, basically. And it makes no sense. They didn't say anything about allowing people out of prison or allowing them outside of this fucking thing on YouTube is going off. God damn, I hate these fucking ads on here interrupting. God, what the fuck do they put those ads on YouTube there that just all of a sudden start fucking talking to you? Anyway, sometimes it scares the shit out of me. It's more scary than the Purge, those ads on YouTube. But anyway, they're skipping around and all this shit, and they're psychotic. They didn't say anything about letting the mental institutions out. So, like, right there, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, you have mental patients there. It's supposed to be normal people, everyday working class citizens getting their revenge, on the man or whatever it's supposed to be. But whatever, don't know. This is their movie, and whatever it is, and that's the other thing I forgot to mention about this. Michael Bay worked on this movie. So right there, that shit ain't gonna make fucking sense. Based on that alone, Michael Bay, the guy who fucking butchered Transformers. Started off well, but then butchered this series. Okay, but I'm not even gonna get into that right now, because that's a story for a different day. And you know what? I probably, somewhere down the line, will make a Transformers trilogy review, especially because the man is going to make a fourth Transformer after he pretty much promised he wouldn't. They should have made that man swear on the Bible that he wouldn't direct another Transformers movie. But yeah, the man has, he has fucking signed on to make another Transformers movie. And, the guy should just not make any more movies, basically. It's not his forte here. Movie making is not this man's forte. He butchers everything. The man's gonna butcher the Ninja Turtles. We all know that. I mean, look at the man's film debut, Armageddon. Wasn't that bad enough? I mean, the man should have been banned from making movies after that. I don't know. But anyway, so basically, back to the movie itself. End of Michael Bay rant. But it's not random, because it really relates. The man produced, and I don't care if you say that he wasn't the director. He is the producer, and a man like Michael Bay, a man with the ego of Michael Bay, will not, be relegated to a minor spot of filmmaking. He's got to get his fucking clutches on that movie and wring its fucking neck! Oh, man. And did he ever wring its neck? Okay, so they're basically Ethan Hawke, then they retreat away from the front door, where they're just patiently waiting. And, I don't know why they're even giving them a chance to live, Ethan Hawke and all that. They could just come in there at any time and kill them. I mean, they have the security equipment hooked up. But wait, I'm going to get to that in a minute. So they retreat back in the house. They finally, after a little bit of a struggle, they get the military guy who now he knows what's going on. He knows that they're trying to capture him. Somehow, I don't know. He wasn't standing at the front door, but he figured it out somehow. I don't know. And he grabs the daughter. He's about to kill Ethan Hawke's daughter. Okay, so keep that in mind. He's got a fucking, what was it, a gun or a knife? I don't even remember. But he's got a weapon to her head. He's going to kill her. Going to kill his daughter. So, I mean, if it was my daughter, I'd be like, look, you motherfucker, I can't wait to get your ass out there till they can chop you into a million bits. They're going to brutally kill that man. Okay, so they, Ethan Hawke then shoots him. The guy is bleeding. They tape him to a chair, and they're about to present him, and then he gets all emotional, and, he starts feeling bad, and, all because his wife says something to him. And his wife in this movie, what the fuck is her goddamn fucking name in this film? Fuck's her fucking name. Trying to look for it. Oh yeah, Lena Headey. Headey or Headey, how the fuck you say her goddamn fucking name? She starts talking to Ethan Hawke, and he starts feeling bad. This guy almost killed your daughter, and you're feeling bad? What? What? Like, I know with a plot like this we're supposed to suspend our disbelief, but remember the plot? About, the killing and everything? There's so much potential, and they're making it so stupid and boring. Boring, too. This is not exciting. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It's very generic. So now, pretty much, they're losing patience. And now they just, they hook up a chain to their front door, and they hook it up to a truck, and they pull the door right off its hinges. Really nice, impregnable merchandise you sell there. And before this happens, Ethan Hawke even admits to his family that the equipment's not even that great. Because his wife asked him, are they safe? And he pretty much tells them no. So, this shit that he's been selling is just faulty merchandise. And he's pretty much made millions off of selling shit that doesn't even work. And he's supposed to be a good guy. Oh, man. He's supposed to be the protagonist. And oh, dear God, this is stupid. So they break into the house, and, they're, the girls with the masks and everything, they're skipping around, and they've got their smiles on. The only one who's not wearing a mask is the lead psychopath, and, what is this guy's name anyway? Riz Wakefield, and they have him down as the polite leader. He doesn't even have a fucking name in the fucking movie. And he's the main antagonist in this film. So basically, they get in. And it's just generic of them basically skipping, and, the family's running for their lives. And, you had this great plot where they could have done anything, and they just make it into some lame home invasion movie. And wait for this, because I mentioned this in the previous review. His son, the one who fucking let the military man in and started this whole fucking mess, he's got a heart problem. And it brings me back to another home invasion film. Panic Room with Jodie Foster. And her daughter had a problem in that movie too, a health problem. She had diabetes. And you know what's like weird about this is, okay, so that became a certain thing that she had to somehow get the insulin in panic room. Jodie Foster had to leave the panic room and risk going out there with the burglars, and risk getting killed or, or captured or wherever. And she had to get her daughter the insulin, and she had it to like, and that movie wasn't great, but at least it made a little bit of sense. And they mentioned something like that. They mentioned, a big conflict in there, and they resolved it. But they mentioned the heart problem of the son, and they never do anything about it. It's mentioned, and like it's going to be a problem, and then they just go on with the movie. So somehow they started a new idea and then skipped along to pretty much just progressing the movie forward. So right there they could have taken an interesting turn and, maybe Ethan Hawke has to leave the house, and there's the other thing, it's even on the poster, there's no medical treatment. Basically, hospitals are closed for those 12 hours, so, maybe he would need heart medication or some shit like that, basically, and, they never follow up on it. It's mentioned, by the way, he's got health problems. He's got some heart problems, and, yeah, we're just going to mention it, but it's not going to really mean anything in the movie. What? Like, why would you mention something that, has to do with a conflict, like a possible conflict in the movie, a situation that could arise, but it never will? That's beyond weird, bizarre to me. I don't get it. Why? So then, finally, they kill Ethan Hawke. He dies at the hands of the polite leader, stabbing him, and, you knew someone from the family was going to die, but I don't know why they would kill off Ethan Hawke, and quite frankly, the family doesn't seem too upset by it. So then, anyway, they come in, and, and the family is basically about to be killed. The great protector, Ethan Hawke, is now dead, pretty much. And all of a sudden, the neighbors, the jealous neighbors show up, and they kill all the prep school kids. They're all dead, gone, just like that. They're easily done away with, and this is such a fucking mess. And so the neighbors are there all of a sudden, and now they're going to get their revenge. They tie up the family, and it's like, this is pretty much it. They're going to kill. They're doing some weird, like, prayer thing for the Purge, and I don't know how this became a religious experience all of a sudden. But so that basically happens. They capture them, and everything looks like it's gonna go bad for them. And all of a sudden, the military officer comes in and saves the day pretty much, and they pretty much turn the tables, and they leave most of them alive, the neighbors. And then Ethan Hawke's wife gets in control of the gun, Lena Headey, or how the fuck you say this bitch's name. She gets in control of a gun, and pretty much, they disarm everybody. And they're sitting around the kitchen table, basically just waiting for the Purge to end. And they won't kill them or anything, and, like, she's trying to make conversation with them. And, there's an attempt at humor here, but it just fails. And then that's it. The film just ends. And she doesn't even seem to be too upset that her husband's dead. And right there, I pretty much just described the whole fucking movie to you. What a piece of garbage! That was it. That was the end of it. Wow. They just wait it out. So, it's like if they're going to give us a shitty beginning, a shitty middle, at least maybe lead at the end where maybe there could be a possible redemption here. Something for, after that hour and a half, those 90 minutes of pure, just illogical, trash that they just threw and threw at us, just plopped it right in the trough right there. You think at least they might redeem themselves with something of quality? No! That's it, it just ends. And there's your movie. I felt no attachment to any of these characters. So when Ethan Hawke died, I was like, well, he's dead. And nobody else gave a shit either. So it's like, why should I even fucking care? You know what else didn't even fucking make any sense either? I forgot to mention this. Okay, so upon them letting the military officer in, the daughter's boyfriend pulls a gun on Ethan Hawke, and he shoots him, and like Ethan Hawke shoots the boyfriend, and the thing is, like, what's the point? I know that the father wouldn't let the boyfriend come in. He didn't like him with the daughter, so he's going to kill the father. And then she's upset with Ethan Hawke for shooting him, even though the boyfriend either shot first or almost shot him, I forget. And she's angry with him throughout the movie. Holy fucking shit. It makes... Like, this is not how people act. Father, boyfriend, I think you're gonna care a little bit about your immediate family before you care about your boyfriend who you've known for maybe a week. And plus, he just, like, tried to kill your father. Now, when I think about a movie like The Purge, in its finished form, after viewing it, I see it as a piece of shit. But I see a wasted opportunity here. As I said, this was the premise for an epic movie. Total lawlessness. And though it has been done before, in different ways, we instead get a low-budget disaster, almost like a B film, but usually B movies are fun to a point, depending on how they're made. Instead, this movie is not even like unintentionally funny or anything. Even at the end, the movie is not funny when it tries to go for humor. It's just a fucking mess that makes no sense at all. Nothing is explained. It's just one thing after another. Like, who are these people? What are their intentions? And, it's never really explained, except for the neighbor just being jealous. But why they waste their time with these psychotic prep school kids and all that, it's like they wanted to do something here, but they didn't know how to go about it. Like, yeah. So basically, they're giving you this sandbox to play in. It's a giant, no, not even a sandbox, a giant baseball field. You can do whatever you want in this Purge world, because there are no rules. It's no holds barred. So you can do whatever the fuck you want. And instead they choose to go with the most generic of fucking plots. And they relegate the lawlessness angle to the role of a subplot. It's, it's not even really like all that important. Like, all this stuff wouldn't be able to take place if it wasn't for the Purge. But, like, the home invasion angle is You know, it could have been more than that. It could have been exciting. Like I said, it could have been truly funny. They could have, worked in jokes, because it is pretty humorous. I mean, you can kill whoever you want, do what you want, but instead, no. You don't even really get to see any, like, real, like, epic murders or anything creative in the way of violence. It's just all generic stuff, and you get to see, like, some out of focus, like, black and white footage, at the very beginning of this movie of certain people getting killed, and that is very disappointing. I was going in expecting to see a bloodbath of a movie, and instead, I didn't get that at all. In fact, there really isn't that much violence in this movie at all. It really is very pathetic and false advertising. If I ever did see a movie false advertised, it's this one. I mean, they were promising a lot with this hype. I mean, I could clearly see in the trailer what they were going to do, but I thought they were going to at least be more clever than this. This movie had, like, no intelligence, nothing in it. There's never at one point in this movie where you're like, oh, that was smart, that was, resourceful of Ethan Hawke. No. In fact, the family looks like a bunch of fucking dumbasses. Everybody in this movie looks so fucking stupid. They're, it's just worthless. None of these characters mean anything. I mean, like, seriously. Like, even Hawke doesn't come off as heroic. Like, no reason to care at all for this movie. So, I could ramble on about this for another 20 fucking minutes, but I'm just going to cut it off right here. This movie was just so much wasted potential. You could have had such a great movie here, but, when you got somebody like Michael Bay on the project, it's like the same thing with Transformers. It's not that hard, make Megatron practically unbeatable, have him kick everybody's ass. Instead, he's pretty much made to look like a bitch. A 4-foot-tall girl calls him a bitch, and he takes it like a bitch. And like I said, I'm not even going to get into Transformers right now. That's a story for a different day, and I'm sure when Ninja Turtles comes out, I'm gonna fucking go watch that movie and bitch the fuck about that one too. So yeah, Michael Bay, never do another horror movie again. It's like this guy. Here we go. This is gonna go on for at least another 2 minutes because I just gotta say this before I end the video. He destroyed every single genre known to man. And now he had to kill horror thrillers for us. And not only that, take a great idea and just, like, pull down his pants and take a wallop-sized shit on it. That is what Michael Bay does. He takes monstrous-sized shits on great ideas. That's pretty much it. Alright, I've had about enough.